Have you ever felt constantly tired with body aches, bloating, or digestive issues? Without understanding the reason? The truth is that chronic inflammation may be silently sabotaging your health, and the culprits may be on your plate every day. Today, we'll reveal 10 dangerous foods that cause inflammation in your body and that you may be consuming without even imagining the damage they do. These foods not only accelerate aging, but also increase the risk of heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and even Alzheimer's. Watch until the end, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Trans fats, the silent villains of inflammation. If there's one type of fat you should keep far away from your plate, it's trans fat. It's stealthy, hiding in common foods, and has a devastating power over your body, especially when it comes to inflammation. Trans fats not only increase levels of bad cholesterol, but also reduce good cholesterol, completely unbalancing your cardiovascular health and opening the door to silent inflammatory diseases. And the worst part? You often don't even realize you're consuming them. Present in margarines, industrialized cookies, frozen French fries, microwave popcorn, and even fast food breads. These fats are artificially created through a process called hydrogenation. That's right. Something that should be natural is chemically manipulated to last longer on the shelf. But while these products last longer, your body pays the price with continuous inflammation, which weakens your cells, affects your joints, and overwhelms your immune system. If you're already over 40, your body doesn't have the same tolerance as before. This means that the effects of trans fat accumulate more easily. You may notice this through persistent fatigue, joint pain, increased abdominal fat, and even mood changes. These often ignored signs are the internal reflection of the inflammation that is growing silently. And it can all start with that simple package of cream-filled cookies in the afternoon coffee break. Now, before you think that cutting out trans fat will leave you without tasty options, here's the good news. It's completely possible to eat well with flavor and still avoid this ingredient. For example, instead of using margarine, try avocado oil or extra virgin olive oil, which are not only flavorful, but also have anti-inflammatory properties. Instead of packaged snacks, go for nuts or homemade popcorn with a little salt and olive oil. Small swaps make a big difference. Another important point: be vigilant with labels. In the United States, many products claim 0 g of trans fat, but that's not always true. According to the legislation, foods with less than 0.5 g per serving can be declared trans fat-free. So if you consume more than one serving, which is very common, you're ingesting this fat without knowing it. Therefore, look for the words partially hydrogenated oil. That's the red flag you should avoid. If you want longevity with quality, cutting out trans fat is a mandatory step. Think of it as an internal cleaning. By eliminating this type of fat, your body works better, circulation improves, the brain thinks more clearly, and even sleep tends to improve. And the good news is that your palate adapts. After a while, without consuming foods with trans fat, your body rejects the excess of artificial fat. Processed meats, hidden enemies in the breakfast. You may think that crispy bacon or the deli ham in your sandwich are harmless, but the truth is that processed meats are among the most inflammatory foods that exist, and the worst part, they are part of the daily life of millions of people. Bacon, sausages, hot dogs, deli ham, salami, bologna, canned meat. These products may seem practical, tasty, and even nostalgic, but behind the smoked flavor and convenience, they hide serious health risks. What makes these meats so dangerous is not just the type of meat itself, but what they put in it. Most processed meats contain chemical preservatives, such as nitrites and nitrates, used to give color and extend shelf life. These additives, when consumed frequently, increase inflammation levels in the body and are associated with an increased risk of heart disease, colorectal cancer, and neurodegenerative disorders. And there's more. The smoking or high-temperature cooking process common in these meats increases inflammation and damages healthy cells in your body. This is especially concerning for those over 40, when the body takes longer to regenerate and eliminate toxins. You might be thinking, but I've always had bacon for breakfast. And that's exactly where the danger lies. Chronic exposure, even in small amounts, will accumulate. That sausage in the hot dog, the deli ham in the quick snack, the canned meat that saves a dinner. All of this added up forms a daily inflammatory cocktail that accelerates aging and affects everything from digestion to memory. But don't worry, there are easy and tasty substitutes. Instead of deli ham, how about grilled or shredded chicken breast? Instead of the industrialized sausage, try making a homemade hot dog with artisanal sausage without additives. Yes, they do exist in natural food markets. Even bacon can be replaced with vegetable versions made from mushrooms, coconut, or tofu, which, when well seasoned, can surprise you with their flavor. Another tip is to invest in cleaner proteins. Free-range eggs, wild-caught salmon, or even lean beef cuts, as long as they are not processed. The idea here is not to cut protein from your life, far from it. The goal is to remove the hidden poisons in the industrialized versions that sabotage your health. Refined sugar, the silent sweet enemy of your health. Who doesn't like a little sweet treat after lunch, a sugary coffee, or that cake in the afternoon? It's a common, almost cultural habit. But what many people don't realize is that refined sugar, despite seeming harmless, is one of the main causes of chronic inflammation in the body, especially after age 40. When metabolism starts to slow down and the effects of what we eat appear with more intensity. Refined sugar is in everything: breads, sauces, cereals, beverages, fitness bars, yogurts, and even savory foods. And we're not just talking about the white sugar you see in the jar. We're talking about an ingredient that disguises itself under more than 50 different names on labels, such as corn syrup, maltodextrin, dextrose, and sucrose. Each of them acts in the body the same way. It triggers insulin, feeds inflammation, and accelerates cellular aging. When you consume refined sugar, it enters the bloodstream quickly, raising the glucose level. This forces the pancreas to release large amounts of insulin to try to balance everything. Over time, this constant cycle leads to insulin resistance, which is the gateway to type 2 diabetes, as well as promoting heart disease, kidney problems, and brain degeneration. But before any diagnosis, the body has already been giving signs: fatigue, irritability, joint pain, and difficulty concentrating. By cutting out refined sugar, many people report improved sleep, weight loss, reduced pain, and a mental clarity they haven't felt in years. And if you're already over 40, you'll notice the difference even faster, because your body feels both the damage and the relief more intensely. It's like taking an invisible weight off the digestive, immune, and hormonal systems. A practical tip: when the sweet craving hits, go straight for fresh or dried fruits in controlled portions. Apple with cinnamon, dried apricots, frozen blueberries with a little plain yogurt. These are delicious anti-inflammatory options rich in fiber, which help maintain satiety and blood sugar balance. White flour, the illusion of the light food that weighs on the body. It's in the warm bread for breakfast, the pizza dough on Saturday night, the cookie that accompanies the afternoon coffee. White flour is part of the American dietary routine for decades. But few know that this seemingly harmless ingredient acts in the body like refined sugar and is one of the major contributors to chronic inflammation. White flour is obtained from wheat, but goes through an intense refining process. In this process, the most nutritious parts of the grain, such as the bran and germ, are removed, leaving only the starch, which is essentially pure carbohydrate. In other words, empty calories without fiber, without protein, and with a very high glycemic index. When you consume white bread, cakes, or pasta made with refined flour, your body reacts as if you were ingesting sugar. The result? A spike in blood glucose followed by an insulin spike, the same inflammatory cycle we saw in the section on sugar. And the worst part? Over time, these spikes wear out the pancreas, favor abdominal fat accumulation, increase the risk of diabetes, and of course, keep the body constantly inflamed. Now let's get to what matters. What to use instead of white flour? The options are many and quite tasty. Try almond flour, coconut flour, oat flour, or chickpea flour. They all have a low glycemic index, are rich in fiber, and promote real satiety. In addition, they are great for sweet and savory recipes, and you can easily find them in supermarkets or health food stores. Reducing white flour consumption can generate visible and rapid benefits. Less abdominal bloating, weight loss, improvement in joint pain, and even more mental clarity. After all, everything is interconnected. When the intestines suffer from constant inflammation, the whole body responds, and this manifests in symptoms that often seem normal for the age, but are not inevitable. Refined salt, the crystal that may be undermining your health. It's on the table, in the salt shaker, in ready-made foods, in industrialized seasonings, and even where you least expect it. Refined salt, that everyday white salt, seems like an innocent seasoning, but behind its pure appearance hides one of the main contributors to silent inflammatory processes in the body, especially among adults over 40. Unlike sea salt or pink salt, refined salt goes through an aggressive industrial process. In this process, it loses almost all of its natural minerals, such as magnesium, calcium, and potassium, leaving only a high concentration of sodium chloride, and often with chemical additives to maintain color and prevent moisture. This makes it an ingredient with extremely high inflammatory potential, which overburdens the kidneys, heart, and nervous system. Excess refined salt is directly linked to high blood pressure, which in turn is an important risk factor for heart attacks, strokes, and kidney disease. But the effects don't stop there. The constant consumption of refined salt also contributes to fluid retention, swelling, joint pain, and even digestive problems, symptoms often treated with medications, when in fact they have their origin in the diet. And it's not just what you put with your hand that counts. Most of the salt consumed today comes from processed and ultra-processed foods. Breads, cold cuts, ready-made sauces, instant soups, snacks, frozen meals. A single industrialized meal can contain more than half of the recommended daily sodium intake, without you even tasting the salty flavor. The danger lies precisely in this unconscious consumption. The solution, fortunately, is not to eliminate salt completely, the body needs it, but to replace it with more natural options and reduce the hidden consumption. Unrefined sea salt, for example, contains minerals that help balance the effects of sodium. Pink Himalayan salt is also a popular alternative, with over 80 naturally occurring minerals that help modulate blood pressure and add flavor without overburdening the body. Another powerful strategy is to use natural seasonings instead of salt. Garlic, onion, turmeric, pepper, parsley, green onion, rosemary, and lemon juice enhance the flavor of foods without causing inflammation. Processed dairy, the hidden danger in creamy foods. Flavored yogurts, sliced cheeses, enriched milks, cream cheeses, ice creams, and many other dairy-derived products are part of the American dietary routine. They are seen as sources of calcium, protein, and convenience. But few know that these processed dairy products are highly inflammatory. What makes these foods so problematic? First, the aggressive industrial process they go through. To ensure more creaminess, durability, and flavor, the industry adds chemical additives, thickeners, preservatives, artificial colors, hidden sugars, and in many cases, even the trans fats mentioned earlier. The result is a food that moves further and further away from natural milk and becomes a cocktail of inflammatory ingredients. Another critical point is the way modern milk is produced. Many cows receive growth hormones and antibiotics to increase production. These compounds can remain in the processed milk and interfere with the human hormonal system, favoring inflammation, insulin resistance, and even thyroid changes, especially in women over 40, a stage of life when the body is already dealing with natural hormonal changes. But after all, what to do? Do you have to stop consuming everything that comes from milk? Not always. The key is in the quality and type of product. Many adults feel much better when swapping processed dairy for real fermented alternatives, such as kefir or plain whole milk yogurt, without added sugars or dyes. These foods maintain the beneficial bacteria that help restore gut flora and reduce inflammation. In addition, there are great plant-based substitutes today. Almond, oat, coconut, or cashew milks are light options, lactose-free, and often fortified with calcium. Artisanal nut-based cheeses, made with nuts and natural seasonings, are also surprisingly tasty and much less inflammatory alternatives. Alcohol, the drink that disguises the enemy in the glass. Let's get straight to the point. When you consume alcohol, your body recognizes it as a toxin. The liver works intensely to metabolize this substance, and in this process, compounds such as acetaldehyde are produced, highly toxic and inflammatory. This byproduct damages cells, causes oxidative stress, interferes with the functioning of the mitochondria, responsible for cellular energy, and activates a cascade of silent inflammations. And it's not just the liver that suffers. Alcohol directly affects the digestive system, irritating the intestinal lining and promoting intestinal permeability, also known as leaky gut. This means that particles that should be eliminated end up leaking into the bloodstream, triggering inflammatory reactions throughout the body. The result? More joint pain, skin problems, fatigue, and even mood changes. Alcohol also disrupts the immune system. It interferes with the body's ability to respond to infections, aggravates inflammatory conditions such as arthritis, fibromyalgia, and autoimmune diseases, and also compromises deep sleep, essential for the body to recover. Have you noticed how even a night of a few drinks can result in fatigue, a slow mind, and a bloated feeling the next day? But perhaps the biggest problem with alcohol is not the drink itself, but the frequency and the hidden amount in everyday life. A drink at dinner here, a happy hour there. And before you know it, the weekly consumption has already exceeded safe limits. And it's worth remembering, most alcoholic beverages also bring with them sugar, dyes, sulfites, and chemical preservatives, all known to aggravate inflammatory processes. Does this mean you need to completely eliminate alcohol from your life? Not necessarily, but rethinking your relationship with it is essential. True moderation, not that vague idea of just socially, may be the key to reducing inflammation in the body and gaining more energy, mental clarity, and sleep quality. Try, for example, a 30-day period without alcohol. Observe how you wake up, how you feel during the day, how your body responds. Many report improved digestion, less anxiety, and even effortless weight loss. Today, there are incredible options to replace alcohol in social moments. You can try natural mocktails made with kombucha, sparkling water and fresh fruits, or even herb infusions with lemon and ginger. In addition to being delicious, these drinks help hydrate and reduce inflammation instead of increasing it. Corn, the grain that became the silent enemy of your health. When we think of corn, the image that usually comes to mind is positive. A natural plant-based food harvested from the earth. After all, boiled corn, popcorn, and even corn on the cob seem like harmless choices. But the truth is that the corn that reaches you today is very different from that simple and nutritious grain of the past. It has become one of the most manipulated, refined, and used foods by the modern industry, and unfortunately with serious effects on your health. The first thing you need to know is that over 90% of the corn produced in the US is genetically modified. This means that it has been altered in the laboratory to be resistant to pests and pesticides, especially glyphosate, a powerful herbicide that accumulates residues in the grain and which, according to studies, can disrupt the intestine, cause internal irritations, and contribute to inflammatory processes in the body, and more. The constant ingestion of these corn derivatives alters insulin sensitivity, which can favor weight gain, increase the risk of type 2 diabetes, and generate chronic fatigue. That's why many adults report energy drops after lunch, difficulty losing weight, a feeling of bloating or mental fog, All of this can originate from this invisible ingredient. Corn itself is not the villain, but rather the way it is consumed today. Refined, processed, and hidden in everything. Cornstarch, for example, is used as a thickener in sauces and desserts, but is quickly converted to glucose in the blood, generating inflammatory spikes and hormonal imbalances. Microwave popcorn, on the other hand, is loaded with artificial flavorings, trans fats, and even toxic chemicals used in the packaging. The key here is to choose the right corn in the right form with moderation and awareness. Prefer organic, non-GMO corn in simple and homemade preparations. Boiled corn on the cob without artificial butter can be consumed occasionally, especially if combined with a meal rich in fiber and protein that helps stabilize blood sugar. Another essential point is to avoid products with corn syrup in the ingredient list, especially if it appears among the first three. This is a clear sign that the food was designed to addict the palate and generate metabolic imbalances. Vegetable oils, the invisible enemies of your body after 40. When you hear about vegetable oils, you probably think of something healthy, right? After all, they come from plants. Sounds natural. But the truth is that industrialized vegetable oils, such as soybean, corn, canola, cottonseed, and sunflower, are ultra-processed products, created in the laboratory, highly refined, and with a devastating impact on health, especially for people over 40. These oils are in almost all processed foods, salad dressings, mayonnaises, cookies, frozen foods, French fries, snacks, healthy bars, ready meals, and even supplements. They are cheap for the industry but very expensive for your body. Repeatedly consumed, they damage cell walls, overburden the liver, and make weight loss difficult. And be careful. Even when you cook at home, it's easy to fall into the trap of traditional cooking oils. Canola, corn, or soybean oil may seem harmless, but they are highly inflammatory, especially when heated. The high temperature breaks down their molecules, releasing toxic substances that inflame the body from the inside out. The good news is that you can replace these oils with truly healthy and stable options. Extra virgin olive oil used cold or at low temperatures, avocado oil ideal for cooking, coconut oil, and even organic butter are safe, delicious choices with real health benefits. In addition, learning to read labels makes all the difference. Start avoiding products with soybean oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, or partially hydrogenated oil in the ingredient list. And you don't have to give up flavor. Baked dishes with avocado oil, grilled vegetables in olive oil, or even desserts made with coconut oil can be delicious and much safer for those over 40 who want to live with more energy, less pain, and a lighter body. Now that you know the 10 dangerous foods that cause inflammation in your body, the decision is in your hands. Will you continue to hand over your health, your energy, and your well-being to ingredients that silently make you sick? Or will you start today to protect your body with conscious choices? It's not about cutting everything overnight. It's about taking one step at a time, replacing what sabotages your body with options that nourish. Now tell me in the comments, which of these foods caught you by surprise? And which one will you start avoiding from now on? And don't forget that the content of this video is for informational purposes only. It does not replace medical advice. Always consult a healthcare professional before making changes to your diet or lifestyle. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave your like. This helps the content reach more people who, like you, want to live with more quality and away from invisible pains. If you already enjoy my tips, you're going to love the 30-day ebook. I created it with so much care, with 30 natural teas to boost your energy and accelerate your metabolism. And there's more. You'll also get 12 exclusive recipes, perfect to complement the teas and take care of your health, all made just for you. If you're ready to transform your health in a simple, natural way, the link is in the pinned comment below. Don't miss this chance to take care of yourself. And if you want to continue caring for your body with wisdom, don't stop here. Your kidneys are fundamental on this journey of detoxification and balance. Watch now the video. 7 shocking drinks you have at home and are destroying your kidneys now. Just click on the video on the right to watch it right now. I'll see you in that next video.